So I didn't get a chance to say sort of a thank you to all the people who showed support and also to the people who were critical of our last conversation. You were kind in your criticism. And of course, the people who were supportive were very kind, and it meant a lot to me. And I just didn't get a chance to say that. So I wanted to say that out front here. But we're talking about my anger and the struggle between anger and compassion. So enjoy.
So I don't think in my lifetime I've ever seen this many people this angry
Okay.
or this many people this silent
Right.
about the things that are making other people angry. And I also see because you and I are struggling with this whole issue of anger, and we can talk a little bit about that. I think there's a generational thing going on here too. You know, your generation's a bit angry with us, maybe more than a bit angry with us,
Right.
our generation doesn't know how to handle your anger, or at least I don't know how to handle your anger,
Right.
except to be anxious about it or worried about it or concerned that you're too angry or
Right.
you know what I mean? I think that's something I'm hearing conversation around in lots of
Hmm.
different places.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's an issue between you and me, and we can talk a little bit about that today, how we're
sure.
trying to work through that, because I think happening in other families too.
Yeah, I think the amount of rupture that's happening in our society is um, hard to underestimate. I mean, do I want to say the opposite? Hard to overestimate, meaning it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I actually am seeing all the angry people. I'm not seeing a lot of them here in my community. I am seeing them.
Yeah.
They do exist in our community. Um, but we don't live in a community where anger is really allowed, especially if it's directed at the power structures. That's a big no-no. The biggest power structure where we live is white Christianity. That's the ruling power structure where we live, and it's under assault, is the other thing that I think is important to note. And they know they're under assault. And they're varying degrees of emotional about the fact that they're under assault because around here, you're not supposed to insult Christianity, insult the church, insult conservatism, because around here, the white Christian heterosexual cisgender male is king. Their worldview is king. And you are not supposed to mess with that worldview. That's a fact that we've known for decades. It used to not be a fact that bothered us. We were a part of it. We were in it. We benefited from
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we sure,
So we took
or at
it
least
as
I was.
normal.
I think Josh, I was. You've been challenging this stuff since you were a child. I mean, you had to really um, kind of hide yourself, and you tried so hard to accept it all. I mean, my gosh,
Yeah.
you helped me at church. You would sing
Mhm.
at church. You and
Mhm.
Ben and would come to Good Friday service, for example, and do the sound and get involved in that really
Mhm.
kind of crazy service around the death of Jesus, really the
Mhm.
execution of Jesus. And
And honestly, it was always my favorite service.
I know you used to love that service because it was really kind of a human. I think lots of people love the
It
Good
was the
Friday
one
service.
time that we lived in tragedy and darkness.
Oh, say more about that.
Well, that
Say more.
service is about tragedy and darkness and the dark side of life, and that death is real, and that death we wanted it also to be true a couple days later that death wasn't real anymore, actually. But in that moment, it was very real. It
Yeah.
was dark, and we would leave in silence.
Yeah.
I yeah, I was very fond of that service. I suppose it
Yeah.
suited me. I suppose now that I'm saying it out loud, anybody who knows me will perfectly understand why I liked that service. I think ultimately now what I would say is it was real. It was the realest moment every year.
So you're getting some pushback from people, including me, that you're too angry or you're coming off too angry
Right.
or
Or being
I think
unfair.
the charge that, or the thing that is more is whether or not we're coming off with humility in the midst of anger. I mean, whether it's condescending.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's a real thing to think about because that isn't what you're looking for, and it isn't you. It isn't who you are. I don't see you like that in other circumstances. So, say a little bit about how this kind of pushback you're getting on when people say to you, including me, you're coming off too angry.
Yeah.
Respond to that, please.
Yeah. Um, I see privilege immediately. I see spiritual bypassing pretty quickly. All the ways that we cope with not wanting to actually deal with what's happening, the seriousness of it, what it might require from us to defeat it, even the notion that we have to defeat something, that we have enemies, and that the enemies are our own people, meaning they are white Christians. That's just a fact. And another fact is who are the most entitled people you've ever had to deal with in your life? Who comes to mind as people that you've just found extremely entitled? Because I have a
Wealthy,
couple people that come to mind, a few people,
yeah,
types of people.
well, wealthy white people,
Right.
upper middle class, wealthy white people.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean that's just true. I mean, I
Yeah.
was reading today a really good article in the Reform Journal about this topic that we're talking about. The title of and this was a guy your age, I think, and he was talking about, you know, um, is it all right? I mean, I'm not getting the title exactly right. Is it all right for
It's
me
okay.
not to
Not to
be
be outraged.
outraged today?
Yeah.
Today, today.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I just found that article really helpful. And one of the things he said in it, he quoted James Baldwin and said, "Well, if you're black, you're angry all the time.
Hmm. Yeah.
But how do you present your views so they can be heard?" I mean, that was Baldwin's struggle. That's Ta-Nehisi Coates, who you love and I love too. He's angry. He doesn't hide the fact that he's angry. And what he has to deal with all the time is, how can I be heard?
Right.
If I come off, it's like if I rail because Josh,
Hmm.
you just you just texted me not long, just a few minutes ago or an hour
Hmm.
ago. 5 babies froze to death in Gaza.
So far, there will
It's,
be more.
yeah, Israel has cut more in half the supply trucks going into a starving people. The
Yeah.
Israeli settlers, with the help of the Israeli army, seized a well that is the only source of water for 9 Palestinian villages. And we're not allowed to be angry about that.
Yeah. Well, we're allowed to be angry about it, but we need to be quiet about it and not bother
But
people with our anger.
we have to express our
Just
anger
so.
in
Yeah.
ways that aren't offensive.
Right.
Now, if we're
Well, I mean,
condescending, if
Alex Preddy did
yeah,
not express his anger properly. That's the story. That was he deserves to be dead because his anger was too I don't know, really. But
yeah,
these are the type of things that we say all the time about victims of oppression.
yeah,
They weren't perfect enough victims. And so
yeah,
therefore we can disregard them. And I also
yeah,
want to say that my answer to the most entitled people I've ever dealt with is Jewish Israelis.
Hmm.
That's the answer to that question for me.
Oh, I didn't think of them. Yeah, I wasn't thinking outside of our own country. Sorry. I know
And then the
you and
second
mom are in that
most,
world.
yeah, and the second most is the white Christian male.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's in-
those two people are representing the two religions that around here everybody loves. Um, and they are currently harassing and terrorizing their own residents and the entire world. Those two people groups are responsible for harassing, for turning the world into utter chaos. The other one would be Iran is
Mhm.
doing that as well. So now we've got all three Abrahamic religions involved. The most dangerous countries in the world are from an Abrahamic religion. That's Russia would be another one. Here's the difference between Russia and Iran. They're not democracies. Iranians are in the street right now trying to make theirs a democracy. We don't know how many people have been killed by their government, which is fully Islamic, but there are numbers out there saying it might be as much as 30,000 have been killed by their own government over the last few weeks. Israel yesterday admitted that actually the Hamas health ministry numbers on the amount killed that we killed is correct. After all this time telling us we couldn't trust it, it was BS, they just kind of quietly, they do this all the time. They'll quietly admit the truth after people are paying attention. Um, and I think for me, what keeps happening is we want to exempt, except in the case of Islam, of course, we want to exempt the religion from criticism, even though it is the people from that religion doing the terrible things. We say somehow it's not the religion that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's not Judaism, guys. It's just a bad version. It's not Christianity. That's just a bad version. And for me, having read their text quite carefully, the Old Testament and the New Testament, not so much for the Quran. I don't know it quite as well, but I'm not at all confused about how bad it probably is too. It is an ancient document after all. Um, you read those documents and you go, well, there's plenty of justification in these documents for what these people are doing. Plenty. And those are just true things. Those are just true things about the world we live in right now.
Yeah.
And also, we have slowly, over the past, and this goes back to Nietzsche really, over the past 200 years, there isn't anything that science has taught us that has upset or challenged things in the Bible that at the end of the day it turned out the Bible was right and science was wrong. If there is something, I don't know what it is. Um, we just continually study it and find it to be less and less true, both in terms of its historical presentation of the people and the events, and more the morality is looking not great to us. So we're shedding a lot of the morality, and I would say rightfully so. And that's just what has happened. It's, and I don't see how that's going to be reversed. I don't think we're going to, in 100 years, be talking about how the last 100 years of, if we get to see them, right? If we don't kill ourselves off, either by climate change or nuclear war, I don't think in 100 years these religions are going to look better, more aligned with reality, if they continue to deny all these other sources of knowledge that don't agree with their dogma. that is not going to improve. It's only going to get worse. They will only look more and more backwards the more they hang on to this ancient thinking, this ancient morality, this ancient worldview. And we do not wrestle with that
Yeah.
ever in any place. It is not allowed.
Well,
Essentially,
one of the reasons we started still processing was so we could wrestle with it there. And I think when we stay with our values, and that's a challenge sometimes, humility, hospitality, honesty, and hope, when we stay with those values, we're effective. But
mhm,
I want to honor your anger. I want to respect it. I just don't want it to consume you, Josh. This is dad to son now. This isn't about you as a podcaster or as the host of Still Processing.
mhm,
This is dad to son. I mean, I don't want you to be consumed by your anger. I don't want your anger to destroy relationships that are important still to you. That's the kind of thing. But I want to honor it. I mean, I look at Minneapolis right now,
mhm.
and I see that the administration is actually responding to what's happening in Minneapolis. They moved that one Nazi-looking guy out,
Bovino,
Bavino.
an
Holman is
awful,
there.
awful, awful man.
Oh, he is. He is. I know.
Awful.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, I know you are.
Okay. He moved out. Holman, who's the head of something,
I
he's
don't
there.
remember. I
He's
think he's
there
the
talking
director of
about,
ICE.
but he's there talking about de-escalating,
Yeah.
about calling. Okay. So what moved the needle on this? And as much as I respect and wish I'd have been with them, if I'd have known this was happening, the pastors who went and kneeled and prayed and were arrested
Hmm.
and taken away peacefully. You watch that video. The police were very kind to them, helped them up,
Hmm.
all of that. Are they the ones that moved the needle on this? No. The needle was moved because of the anger in the streets. You watch, you watch ordinary people, neighborhood people, thousands of them, Minneapolis people in 20 below zero weather,
Hmm.
chasing ICE people out of their neighborhoods with their
Yep.
iPhones and whistles.
Yep.
and they're and they're shaming them. Take your
Yep.
mask off, you coward, and
Yep.
on and on and on and on and on.
Yep.
And that's what moved the needle. So when people are like, "Oh, we got to tamp down this anger," I'm saying, no, I don't believe that's true. I honor and respect your anger. I just,
I appreciate that.
I want you
Hmm.
and me and people like us. I mean, look, listen, folks, this is to you now, not to Josh. This morning, my wife and I, Sally, we've been involved in the Middle East, in Israel, Palestine for 20 years. This morning, Sally, my wife, who is probably one of the most gentle people you could ever know,
Hmm.
read the information about baby dying in Gaza, about
Hmm.
the seizing of the well,
Hmm.
about cutting off the supply, and she went on a rageful rant.
Hmm. Which was very good for her. I guarantee she felt better
She,
after she did it.
yeah. And I sat there thinking, there you go. I mean, this is justified anger. And the question isn't why is she angry? Its question is why aren't more of us that angry?
Hmm.
It's not about why are you so angry? Why is your generation so angry? It's why aren't more of us angry about what's happening? And why are we so constrained from expressing that anger? And how can we express that anger in ways that are actually healthy for us and and can move the needle? I mean, this is the challenge that Josh has and people like him have. And I'm here today to to really um, honor him and people like him.
I
And
would
at the
say
same time, I'm his
one
dad.
thing you can do with your anger is you can scream at the top of your lungs. I do it all the time in my car. I did it in my driveway the other day. A couple people came out to see why. Okay. They want to
Yeah.
know why, come ask me. I'll tell them.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Screaming, screaming is
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
That kind
heard
of,
that before.
I do it in my home. I do it in the car. I listen to Rage Against the Machine and I scream the lyrics along with them. And the lyrics are things like, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. And they just repeat it over and over again, and I yell it because it's a protest anthem.
Yeah.
The song goes like this: Some of those who work forces, police, are the same that burn crosses. We have right now an entire agency with the budget bigger than any military budget in the world, save China and the United States, that is being armed with military arms, and they're being recruited with white supremacist language and imagery. We have a white supremacist army run by the federal government right now. That's what ICE is. And it's not going to get less white supremacist. It's going to get more. Because the people who are going to come now to join ICE are going to be the people who saw all the violence and the shooting and the unrest on the streets and the tackling people to the ground and hauling people out of their homes with just their boxers on, and they're going to say, that's exactly what I want to do. And that's who's going to be our ICE agents. And it already is. That is what that is. And
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I don't know what to say except that's what that is. They are not going to be defeated by anything but force. Period. It can be nonviolent force,
Yeah.
but they are going to have to be, and I'm afraid, honestly, that our only chance now to preserve our democracy is that same force. The Democrats yesterday agreed to fund things, agreed to fund ICE for 2 more weeks and to work on some reforms. You will never reform a white supremacist military regimen. Never. It's impossible. It's utter naivete. And so we're alone. We have some representatives who get it, but most don't. Republicans are on the side of the white supremacist army. Democrats are too weak, too scared to do
Yeah.
the type of things that need to be done.
Yeah.
What the people of Minneapolis showed us is there is a way to win this fight. There
Yeah.
is.
Mhm.
And we need to follow it. Or those of us who are willing need to follow it. And those of us who are not willing need to cheer on those of us who are willing and do things that you are comfortable doing. But one of the things you cannot do is shame the people who do have whatever it is that they have that takes them out in the street to protest, to put their lives on the line nonviolently.
Can you
Shaming those people is so destructive and bad and unfair.
use the word, and I can't think of the phrase, spiritual
Bypassing.
bypassing. I've come across that now more than once. I think I know what it is, but could you say a little bit about that? What is that? Because that's what I run into. I got people saying to me too, all the time is, don't be divisive or no, I don't, you
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about it.
Don't be divisive is lay down and hope somebody else fixes it. That's what that is. It's I don't have the guts to do what you're doing. And it shames me that I don't, so I'm going to shame you instead.
Yeah, right.
That's what's happening in most of those cases. Um, Spiritual bypassing is to say things like, just work on your inner self. Work on yourself in these times. Don't worry about what's happening out there in the world. So that would be anybody who's sort of spiritual. They don't even have to be Christian or be following a religion. Just do your inner work. Don't let anything distract you from your inner work. Spiritual bypassing, total bullshit. Um, None of this is going to change till Jesus comes, anyways.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a guy, I've been looking at the sermons mainly, but I try and look at prayers and opening, the opening person who comes out at services around here to see what are they saying about it. And, the lead pastor from Engedi got up there. He didn't ever say anything about Renee Good. He never said anything about Alex Peretti. He did talk about Charlie Kirk. Um, and he ultimately said the only way is to basically make everybody Christian. Just spread the gospel. That's how we'll solve this. All of that is finding a spiritual way to make you not have to do anything. You don't have to act. You don't have to change. Stay how you are. And this will, like, I don't know, fix itself somehow, or God will save us. All of that language is spiritual bypassing to make them feel good,
Right.
right? And it works. Except it doesn't work for people who actually have ICE in their neighborhood or are in a detention center in Dilley, Texas, where, all of the conditions at these detention centers have been documented and they're horrible. Rotten food, no place to sleep, no access to a shower. We don't have the foggiest idea how bad it is. People have been disappeared. We don't even know. They disappeared from the system and nobody can tell you where they went. Hundreds, maybe thousands. I mean, we're still working on this. So none of that stuff meets the moment. It's coping. It's just a coping mechanism that allows you to stay in your bubble, stay in your ideology, do nothing except say pretty words about God and Jesus and the United States and freedom and turning the temperature down. And I'm sorry, but it's not. I don't respect that way of handling things, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna really even listen to or take people seriously who do that because they're not serious people.
Yeah.
And we need serious people. We're in a very serious time, probably more serious than most people realize, I suspect. I don't know what we'll find out today. We might bomb Iran today. That's real. That's a real possibility. Um, Jared Kushner got up and showed a weird AI video about the rebuilding of Gaza that is never going to happen. Donald Trump sued the IRS for $10 billion yesterday. $10 billion. He is then going to not actually have to go to court because the IRS is his people. So they will settle together how much money the government's going to give him for this suit. That will happen. It will be billions. This is just in the last like 48 hours. He called Alex Peretti an insurrectionist last night. That's what he labeled Alex Peretti. Like the one, we have two people that were martyred. I don't know if Alex Peretti was a Christian, Renee Good was. If our country had a version of Christianity that was beautiful, first of all, it would never be like this. But second of all, Renee Good would be a hero. And so would Alex Peretti. But around here, I've listened now to 4 different churches' services around here, and nobody has mentioned either one of their names at any point ever after they were killed. I listen. I, I'll keep listening. I'll keep looking and
So,
seeing.
so let me, again, I want to press you a little bit, give you opportunity. How are you taking care of yourself I mean, that's what I worry about. I don't, I
Mm.
worry about you. I mean, I don't, I'm with you. I don't, you know that. I just,
Yeah.
how you taking care of yourself because anger is a really healthy emotion,
Hmm.
but it can also be, um, that's in my experience, can also be pretty damaging to the folks around you and to relationships. I worry about that. So
Mm.
for others out there who are you, because
Mm.
there's a generational divide here, to be honest. I mean, my generation created most of these problems, or at least we we grew them.
Hmm.
We evolved them further down the line. And I mean, in almost everything, right? And your generation is rightfully ticked off at us about that. I mean, Tony, my brother, who's under hospice care, and he and I have been doing some videos just about what he's thinking about in his last months. And on one of the last ones we did, and I might post that one, maybe post that segment. He said, I want to say one other thing. And he looked at the camera. We were talking, we were in the same room, sitting across from each other talking. He looked at the camera. He said, I want to say how disappointed I am in my own generation and trying to own my own responsibility in what has happened. We failed. We failed as a generation, and our grandchildren, children and grandchildren are going to pay the price for it. I thought that was, and I agree with that. So you're angry at us, and yet you love us,
Hmm.
right? So there's this,
Hmm.
how do you handle that? I mean, you're angry with our generation, just like, and Christianity,
Hmm.
and yet you love people in our generation and who are Christians. You're in a tough spot, in my opinion. You are in a tough spot, in my opinion. You've chosen to be in a tough spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I take anger over indifference every day of the week. Um, I, I'll take anger over spiritual bypassing every day of the week. So it's like all these other ways that people cope are sort of acceptable. Um, right? It's extremely acceptable to just not pay attention at all to what's happening. Nobody gets mad at you around here for that. They almost
No,
prefer it.
no, they don't
Uh,
almost prefer it. They do prefer
they
it.
do prefer it, yeah.
Just, yeah.
So I actually think other people's hearts and souls are being way more damaged than mine is, to be honest. Um, I am alive. I'm alive to the world and to reality and to what's happening, to my own feelings. I'm alive to my own feelings. Um, I'm able to hold anger without being angry all the time or lashing out at people. Um, I mean, this is kind of what lashing out looks like for me. It's not too bad, really. Like some harsh words on a podcast, that's as bad as it gets in terms of damage that's being done by my anger. Well, I think we can all deal with that. I don't think that's too bad.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
times when people in my life don't like the anger, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can be uncomfortable with the fact that I'm angry right there. If I have to sit and deal with my anger, and I can do that, other people can sit and deal with my with their own anger and my anger.
Yeah.
It's
And the
very
discomfort,
and
right?
discomfort.
And the
And
anxiety.
nobody,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, we don't, nobody has any practice doing that around here.
Right. Right.
It's not a part of the culture to like, especially men, of course, men don't know how to feel a feeling
Yeah.
for an
Yeah.
extended period of time that's uncomfortable
Yeah.
without, a variety of coping mechanisms around it. And that's bad. It's better that people learn to feel their anger than suppress it.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
Yeah.
I deal with it. I do it some of these. I scream, I yell, I punch. I got a boxing bag in the garage. I punch it. I try and do physical things
Yeah, me
uh,
too.
for my anger. Um, I have to learn to live with anger. I have to. The
Yeah.
times that we're living in require us all to learn to live with anger if we're going to be effective in any way in stopping what's happening. We have to literally fight our government now. We have to fight our government and find a way to force the removal of this entire administration. And then they need to be tried for their crimes. It's the only way forward now for us. Anything else will not be enough, will not stop this madness. There's no way. Democrats won't do it, clearly. Elections will never do it. I'm sorry to tell you all that. We will never get through this with elections. Nope. They're already messing with the elections. They're already trying. They wanted all the voter rolls from Minnesota. They'd be like, if you give us all your voter rolls, then ICE will leave. Well, why would they want that?
Yeah.
So they can kick a bunch of people. They're trying to mess with the next election. They went down to Georgia, took all the 2020 ballots to try and prove that Trump won Georgia. Are you serious? This is our country? That was 6 years ago. Do you know how many times they recounted those ballots by hand? At least twice. We cannot vote our way out of this. We cannot beg our way out of this. We cannot compassion our way out of this. It will not work.
Yeah.
It will not work. And
It,
that's, I wish it didn't come, I wish it hadn't come to this, obviously. I mean, that's the sad part. In Iran, they have to die in the streets by the thousands. And guess what? They'll probably lose. All we have to do is blow a whistle in a street with other people or yell at an ICE agent to take his mask off. That's a lot better than getting gunned down in the street for your freedom.
yeah.
There's not that much being asked of us here, really. But we won't get there if we can't handle anger and discomfort. If we can't handle real conversations about what our country is, about what our religions are, or what they've become, we have to face reality.
Mhm.
And we have to do it as quickly as possible. And if we do, we got a chance.
So to kind of get to wrap this up,
Okay.
because we'll return to this kind of stuff. This was good. Thank you. It was good for me anyway.
Well, I have another one that I want us to do on Nietzsche, to be honest, because I've been thinking a lot about Nietzsche and
Oh, okay.
listened again to some stuff about Nietzsche. It's this guy was on to something. He was right
Yeah.
about a lot of things, not everything.
Yeah, we
That's the
can
beauty.
revisit some of those.
That's the beauty of studying philosophy. You can just be like, he was right about this. He was wrong about this. That's a bad idea. That's a good idea. You don't have to be like, I have to make all of Nietzsche amazing or I've failed somehow. You don't have to do that. You can just pick and choose the good stuff. Nietzsche was experimenting constantly. Even he would tell you, like, I don't know what in here is good and what isn't, but I'm a free spirit. And I wish you all would be free spirits with me. So I do want to talk, we can do that in a separate one though.
Yeah, of course.
But
We should.
I think there's good stuff there.
Well, I want to, the way I want to wrap this up by going back to for me, you maybe want to say something too, but Palestinians have been oppressed now for since 1948, really. And the world has pretty much ignored them, and the Christian community has actually um, enabled them to do it, enabled Israel and Jewish Israelis to oppress Palestinians. And
Yeah,
whenever
because
Palestinians
yeah,
push
just
back,
because the thing Israel is a Judeo-Christian project.
yeah,
Period.
okay, let me finish.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind. We talk over each other all the time. People are like not sure about it, but if they were in a family gathering with us, it's a bunch of ADHD people talking over each other, okay? So, but anytime Palestine, no matter how Palestinians push back, it's seen as inappropriate, no matter how they push back. Sally and I were there and we saw peaceful protest after peaceful protest every Friday. And we watched Israel come up and break those things up with tear gas and
Of course.
stun bombs and rubber bullets and horses, big
And
ass horses, literally big ass
skunk
horses.
water and
Yep,
all kinds of
just
stuff. Yeah.
all that stuff. And Palestinians would push back and they'd be criticized no matter how they did it.
Hmm.
And civil rights movement was the same thing. So
Hmm.
I'm just saying this is what we're looking at now too. People like Josh and others who are kind of in a sense professionals around this, no matter how they come at it, it's criticized as being too much. So
Well,
again, I want to close my part of saying to you, Josh, I honor your anger and I respect it. I just don't want it to eat you up.
yeah. And I don't want it to eat me up either. I want it to eat up my enemies. I'm just kidding. Um,